The first time I realized my mother had sacrificed her entire life for me, I was 13 years old. It was 2:17 in the morning. I remember the exact time because I couldn't sleep and went downstairs for water. That's when I heard her crying. Not loud, not dramatic. The kind of crying people do when they're trying not to fall apart. I froze halfway down the stairs. My mother sat alone at the kitchen table under the weak yellow light, holding an old envelope against her chest. She kept whispering the same sentence over and over. "I'm sorry." At first I thought she was talking to herself. Then I saw the letterhead, New York Conservatory of Performing Arts, and suddenly everything made sense. See, my mother wasn't always just mom. Before life crushed her, she had dreams. Big ones. Her name was Alina Brooks, and according to literally everyone who knew her growing up, she was brilliant. Singer, pianist, composer. The kind of talent that made people stop talking when she performed. At 17, she got accepted into one of the best music conservatories in America. Full scholarship. Teachers said she could have had a real career. Then she got pregnant with me, and my father, he vanished before I was even born. Classic coward story, so my mother made a choice. She gave up New York, gave up music school, gave up her future, and spent the next 23 years raising me alone. I didn't fully understand that sacrifice as a kid. How could I? To me, she was just mom. The woman who packed my lunches with little handwritten notes. The woman who worked double shifts at a diner and still came home smiling. The woman who somehow made cheap apartments feel warm. But that night in the kitchen, I realized something horrifying. My mother wasn't crying because life was hard. She was mourning the person she could have become. And somehow, that hurt worse. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. That was her specialty. Pretending she wasn't exhausted. Pretending she wasn't heartbroken. Pretending she didn't quietly sacrifice pieces of herself every single day. I started noticing things after that. The way she paused whenever music played in restaurants. The way her fingers still moved across imaginary piano keys while waiting in traffic. The old notebooks hidden in her closet filled with unfinished songs. Dreams don't fully die. They just get buried under responsibility. Then came the people who made her life even worse. My Aunt Valerie, my mother's older sister. Rich, perfect. Cruel in that polished suburban way where insults come wrapped in fake concern. Valerie married money young and never let anyone forget it. Huge house, luxury subs, country club memberships, and every chance she got, she reminded my mother that she had thrown her life away, especially at family gatherings. "You were the talented one," Valerie would say while sipping wine. Such a shame. A shame, like my mother's life became a cautionary tale, and my grandmother wasn't much better. Grandma adored Valerie. Meanwhile, my mother got treated like the family disappointment. Single mom, no college degree, waitress paycheck. Never mind the fact she was the strongest person in the room. People only respect sacrifice after it becomes successful. Before that, they just call you a failure. I hated them for it, but my mother always defended them. Family is family. I swear that generation would survive emotional warfare and still bring potato salad to Thanksgiving. Then one night everything changed. I was 24 and working as a junior editor at a media company in Chicago when my mother collapsed at work. Stress, exhaustion, malnutrition. The doctor literally asked her, "When was the last time you rested?" She laughed, actually laughed. That destroyed me, because it hit me all at once. This woman had spent 2 decades surviving instead of living, for me. And the people around her repaid that sacrifice with disrespect. Something inside me snapped that day. Not violently, quietly, coldly. I decided I was done watching people break my mother, especially Valerie. Then fate handed me the perfect opportunity. A few months later, Valerie's husband Richard launched a campaign for state senate, and suddenly their family image mattered more than oxygen. Perfect marriage, perfect kids, perfect reputation. Every social event became one giant performance. That's when I discovered the secret. Pure accident. I was helping Mom clean out Grandma's attic one weekend when we found an old storage box filled with letters. Inside were dozens of unopened envelopes addressed to my mother. From the conservatory, scholarship renewals, performance invitations, professional opportunities. My stomach dropped. My mother stared at them in confusion. Then she whispered, "These were never sent to me." That's when Grandma finally admitted it. Years ago, after my mother got pregnant, Valerie convinced Grandma to intercept the letters, because according to Valerie, chasing music as a single mother was embarrassing. I felt physically sick. Do you understand what that means? My mother thought the conservatory abandoned her, but they didn't. Her own family stole her future. I looked at my mother expecting rage, but instead, she just looked tired. That somehow made it worse. No screaming, no breakdown, just 30 years of quiet heartbreak settling into her face. Grandma cried while apologizing. But honestly, I barely heard her, because my brain was already planning revenge. And yes, I know revenge sounds ugly, but some people don't stop hurting others until consequences arrive. A week later, Valerie hosted a massive fundraiser at her mansion for Richard's campaign. Politicians, business owners, media people, the whole fake power circus. And guess who got invited at the last second? My mother. Not because Valerie suddenly cared, because humble, struggling single mother stories look fantastic in political campaigns. They wanted to parade her around like evidence of family values. Mom almost didn't go. I convinced her. Just show up, I said. She had no idea what I was planning. The night of the fundraiser looked exactly how you'd imagine. Luxury cars, champagne towers, rich people pretending to care about ordinary Americans. Valerie floated through the party in a designer gown smiling like a pharmaceutical commercial. Then she spotted my mother. "Oh good, you came?" That fake sweet voice. God, I hated it. Valerie hugged her for appearances while whispering, "Please don't mention financial struggles tonight." I nearly smiled. Perfect. A while later, Richard stepped onto the stage to give a speech about integrity, family, and sacrifice. I almost laughed out loud. Because right as he started talking, I connected my phone to the ballroom projector. Nobody noticed at first. Then the screen behind Richard flickered. Suddenly, an image appeared. My mother at 17, sitting at a piano. Smiling brighter than I'd ever seen. The room quieted immediately. Richard looked confused. Valerie's face tightened. Then another image appeared. Acceptance letters from the conservatory. Scholarship documents, performance invitations. Murmurs spread across the room. Valerie went pale instantly. "What is this?" she hissed. I stepped forward holding the box of letters, and for the first time in my life, I stopped protecting people who didn't deserve protection. "You want to talk about sacrifice?" I said loudly. The ballroom went silent. I looked directly at Valerie. My mother gave up her dreams to raise me. Then I held up the unopened letters. But apparently that wasn't enough for this family. People started whispering harder now. Richard looked panicked. "Turn this off," Valerie snapped. I ignored her. These letters were hidden from her for years. I looked around the room. Professional opportunities, scholarship renewals, invitations. Every face in the ballroom changed. Shock, disgust, curiosity. Then came the kill shot. Her own family stole them. Absolute silence. Richard looked like he wanted the earth to swallow him. Valerie tried laughing nervously. "Oh please, you're exaggerating?" "No," Grandma suddenly interrupted. Everyone turned. My grandmother stood near the back of the ballroom trembling. Tears streamed down her face. "It's true." Boom. You could literally feel the room shift. Grandma looked directly at Valerie. "You told me Alina would ruin the family if she chased music." Valerie's face collapsed. "And I listened to you?" The fundraiser was dead, completely dead. Politicians started quietly backing away. Donors whispered among themselves. Phones came out, because rich people can tolerate cruelty, but not public scandal. Valerie grabbed my arm hard enough to hurt. "You selfish little, don't touch me." For the first time ever, she actually looked scared, because the image she spent decades building was cracking apart in real time. Then something unexpected happened. My mother walked onto the stage. I thought she'd stop me. Instead, she sat down at the grand piano near the ballroom. The room fell silent again. My mother touched the keys slowly, like reconnecting with someone she lost years ago. Then she started playing. And dear God, I understood everything instantly. Why people believed in her, why those schools wanted her, why losing music nearly destroyed her. The entire room froze listening to her, even Valerie. My mother played for maybe 4 minutes, but nobody moved, nobody breathed. When she finished, the silence was overwhelming. Then people stood up, one by one. Applause exploded through the ballroom. Real applause, not polite rich people clapping. The kind that comes from witnessing something undeniable. My mother looked stunned, like she forgot she was still extraordinary. And then came the final twist. A man near the front approached the stage. Gray suit, silver hair. Turns out he was a director from the Chicago Arts Foundation. And after hearing her play, he offered my mother a position teaching and composing for their music program. Right there, in front of everyone. Valerie looked like she might faint. But honestly, I barely looked at her anymore. Because for the first time in my life, my mother looked alive. Not tired, not defeated, not surviving. Alive. Later that night, after everyone left, my mother and I sat alone in the empty ballroom. She held my hand quietly for a long time. Then she asked softly, "Why did you do all this?" I looked at her and finally said the truth. "Because they stole your dreams." I swallowed hard. "And I wanted them to watch you take them back." My mother cried then, not sad tears, the kind people cry when they realize it's not too late to become themselves again. And honestly, watching the people who broke her finally choke on their own cruelty was the most satisfying thing I've ever seen.